Ladies and gentlemen, the Subcommittee on Livestock and Foreign Agriculture will now come to order. As we said on the outset, we're attempting to try to hold at least 2 subcommittee hearings a month, and I think we're so far pretty much keeping on track. Both the ranking member, Mr. Rouser, and I, and working with other committee members, are trying to make sure that we have a thorough vetting of the issues affecting the livestock industry and foreign agriculture around the country and the regional impacts that we see taking place. We know that they're not all evenly placed, and of course these trade tariff wars are having an impact as it relates to commodity group. And therefore, we think it's fitting and appropriate that we have the poultry industry today give us a state of how they are doing, and not only with regards to poultry economics, but also U.S. livestock in general. So the title of this morning's hearing, the State of U.S. Livestock and Poultry Economies, will come to order. We're pleased to have a good cross-representative of industry leaders. Our goal today is to hear from on-the-ground stakeholders in various segments of the livestock and poultry industry, so we know in Congress what's going on for the men and women who are involved in this very important part of animal agriculture in our country that provides protein for all Americans, and enough so that we can export. Livestock and poultry producers have big impacts on rural economies. In my district alone, sales of livestock and poultry and related products add up to over $2 billion a year. Nationwide, that is nearly in excess of $200 billion annually. So it has significant broad-reaching effects throughout the country. Today's hearing builds on the previous work of the subcommittee, including a hearing we had 2 months ago with the United States Department of Agriculture Under Secretary Greg Ibach on the ability to prevent, respond, a new suite of animal health programs that was enacted as part of the new 2018 Farm Bill. Effective administration of animal pest and disease prevention programs were dealt with, and how we mitigate and eradicate with these new changes is crucial, especially now with the threats of virulent Newcastle disease, cattle fever ticks, African swine fever that threaten farmers, ranchers across the country. So it's hard to talk about the state of the livestock industry and poultry economies without talking about trade, as I noted in the outset. Access to foreign markets and fluctuations in foreign demand continue to be a major concern as livestock and poultry farmers need to export markets. And the American tariff-first attitude hasn't been helping the longstanding issues for poultry access into places like China needed to be addressed. I mean, I think we all know, certainly I grew up on our family's farm with the notion that farmers, ranchers, and dairymen are price takers, not price makers. That means for the first persons who are not familiar with life on the farm, they put all the input costs throughout the year, and at the end of the year, farmers, ranchers, dairymen take what the world market price is. And they may have X into that product over a period of months, but need Y to have a profit. But if the market's not Y, they're going to get X. And that's the challenge. Farmers, ranchers, and dairymen are price takers, not price makers. So these tariffs are very troubling, and we see that combined with climate conditions of floods and taking place in parts of the country that add further exacerbation to the challenges our folks are facing. We also know the need to workable immigration system for all the rhetoric and emotion that surrounds the immigration debate. Livestock and poultry producers know that they depend upon a reliable, year-round labor workforce to keep both the farms and the packing sheds running. And what we have seen, and I know in California, is a continuing decline of available workforce, a reliable workforce in our fields and in our packing operations. It is very troubling. And there is fear out in farm country, I can tell you, in the communities that I represent. I just saw it last week about potential of raids and the impacts of people being deported when some families and households are documented and they're legally and some are not. That fear is real. In other issues, we have included with federal meat inspection, food safety, meat and poultry labeling across new technologies, and the Packers and Stockyers Act functions are all major issues concerning this subcommittee, and we will delve into that at a later date. Today's hearing, though, is just one more step in an ongoing conversation on these important issues. The new Farm Bill requires the USDA to complete several studies that will provide Congress with the necessary information on important issues, including the analysis of the possible livestock dealer trust and the effectiveness of the Food Safety Inspection Service outreach to small livestock processors. That information is going to help guide our work in these important issues moving forward. We look forward to getting these studies back and scheduling a hearing appropriately where we can discuss the results with you. As the livestock mandatory price reporting expires in 2020, this subcommittee is interested in learning farmer priorities in advance so that we can deal with reauthorization.